Good afternoon, everybody. I really hope you're well. And we are doing a women's health talk today, all about the effects of your bone health during perimenopause and obviously going through the menopause as well. This is something that we're really focusing on with regards to my Fit Female project. That we're in week 3, and week 3 is all about perimenopause. So we're kind of really thinking about the different effects that can have on to the body, but also how nutrition and training can really help with regards to a lot of the symptoms that you may be experiencing. And I think it's all really important to understand that obviously every woman is different. Hello, Amanda. And every woman's experience with regards to the menopause is different. So we can't kind of put one rule of thumb down for everybody. But what we absolutely can is be aware. And then if we have any of these side effects, then we've got the information that we can actually do something about it. We can control the controllables. So with regards to your bone health, and obviously if you've got any questions with regards to anything that I say, just feel free to fire them in the comments, or if you watch this on catch up and you have any comments as well or any questions, then feel free to let me know. So what we need to kind of reiterate here is that most women will experience some sort of bone loss during the menopause. This is true, okay? Nature provides us with ample bone mass to accommodate, the normal perimenopausal or menopausal bone loss. However, some women do end up with quite a lot of drastic bone loss, and it could be due to different things. But I think it's really important here to identify that bone loss with regards to bone density can be hereditary. So osteoporosis can run in your family. There are also other things that you may have had when you were younger, like the depot injection, which is something that I had. I mean, I had the depot injection in 2 lots of periods of time, one for 10 years, and then the next time for about 5-6 years. The depot injection now is not actually given to young girls unless they have DEXA scans on a regular basis. Now, when I had mine and I first started taking the depot injection, that wasn't known about. There wasn't this direct correlation between having the depot injection, which is a form of contraception, but it is normally used in people who either don't want to have any periods, or for someone like me who got conditions where their periods were really horrendous, like endometriosis and other things like that. So I was given the depot injection as a way to manage those pains, side effects, symptoms of that. So you have an injection in your bottom every 11 weeks. You don't have any period at all. And I had that for a very long period of time. It worked really well for me. But what I didn't know is I didn't know about the other side effects that can actually come in with regards to having the depot. And the depot has a direct correlation to osteoporosis and osteopenia. So for me, I have to make sure that my body stays really nice and strong, my muscles stay strong in order for me to improve my bone density. So our bones naturally break down and rebuild themselves on a daily basis. And until a woman reaches the age of about 30, the building of the bone outweighs the breakdown. So those of you that are instructors, I'm going to take you back to like your level 2 anatomy and physiology, where you would have learned about bones and you would have learned about osteoblasts and osteoclasts. And essentially our osteoblasts build the bone up and osteoclasts clear the bone away. So you've got like this breakdown and build up. When you kind of reach the age of about 29, this is where we start to lose bone density, unfortunately. And this accelerates in many women during the menopause transition. For many years, lots of medical professionals and research have blamed estrogen. However, that is looking at changing, because estrogen is not the only factor responsible for the bone loss during that menopause transition. Neither is calcium, as a matter of fact, for that. The truth behind it is finding one definitive cause for thinning bone during the menopause is just unrealistic. It's like saying one cause of all your menopause conditions and symptoms. There won't be one. It's going to be a collective combination of other factors. The good news is that in most cases, accelerated bone loss during the menopause slows down within about 5 to 7 years after your last period. So when you stop having your periods, you've got kind of like this window of time between about 5 to 7 years where actually your bone loss will start to slow down. So obviously there is more concern about the first few years, when you're going into this perimenopausal stage, going into the menopause. But there's a lot you can do to prevent bone density or even increase it during that time. So first things first, let's have a little talk about nutrition, my favorite subject. And I think we have to understand that majority of people aren't eating in full color. They are not having a balanced diet where they're getting a good amount of vegetables and fruit, whole grains, seeds, nuts, lean protein. Often the body is in this kind of acid alkaline imbalance. We want to have a more alkaline body rather than a more acidic body, but unfortunately, a majority of people eat way too much sugar, have way too much caffeine, alcohol, other stimulants that they put into the body, processed foods, which increase the acidity within the diet. What happens with regards to eating more of an alkaline diet is actually various other things can be massively prevented as well, because cancer can't grow in an alkaline body. It very much grows in an acidic body, but also an alkaline, if you can create this acid alkaline balance, it will massively help to prevent bone loss as well. I think we have to be aware of the amount of, like I said, excess refined foods, sugars, fizzy drinks, preservatives, animal proteins that can cause our body to be out of whack. And that's not just something that's here in the UK, it's kind of worldwide, pretty much very, very common in America as well. But like I said, if you can eat more of an or alkalizing food like fruits and vegetables that less acidifying foods like animal proteins and processed foods, again, that can literally reserve your bone density a lot better, and hopefully then offset, you know, an increased amount of bone density that might happen. So, you know, no one diet is perfect. And I hate the word diet for a start. But I also, I recommend that you eat in full color, that you understand the difference between the food groups, the proteins, carbohydrates, and the fats, and then your micronutrients. And you might want to think about taking additional supplements as well to help complement your diet if you know that you aren't getting enough of these. First one is vitamin D. Adequate vitamin D levels are crucial and critical to us to absorb calcium. So if your intake of calcium is really good, but you're not getting enough vitamin D, then unfortunately our body can't metabolize that calcium. And again, that can then be part of preventing our bones to be so dense. Without enough vitamin D, less than 10% of ingested calcium can be absorbed. And the role of vitamin D plays huge in menopause. Your estrogen levels drop, bone breakdown increases, and vitamin D has been shown to limit the rise in additional hormones, which can limit bone breakdown and bone loss during menopause. Obviously, when we can get vitamin D from the sun, that's amazing, but we need to be careful with regards to our skin and our skincare. So a lot of people do take a supplement, and I used to take a supplement that I would spray inside my actual sides of my mouth, which was very, very good. However, when I had my bloods done recently, they actually found that my vitamin D was way too high. And then again, if anything is out of balance, it can then have a knock-on effect. So my advice was to actually stop taking vitamin D. I was going a bit OTT because during COVID, everyone said that if you can increase your vitamin D, there's a less chance of you getting COVID. So I went a bit OTT with my vitamin D, and I was spraying. I think you're supposed to spray once in the inside of your mouth once a day, and I was spraying 4 times a day. So obviously I was upping it. I got COVID anyway at Christmas, so kind of by the by. But I was told I should stop because also too much vitamin D can cause problems with your kidneys. So you have to be careful. It's again that Goldilocks, not too much, not too little phase that you want to have your vitamin D in. But if you know that you aren't getting enough vitamin D from, your natural sunlight, then you might want to think about increasing and taking a supplement for that. The other vitamin that you should be aware of is vitamin K. Again, it's been recently recognized as an essential vitamin with regards to bone health. A lot of menopausal women have a deficiency in their vitamin K. It's a key player in the formation of bone protein and binding of calcium in the bone matrix. It also is associated with how much calcium we excrete in our urine. Vitamin K has been associated with higher bone mineral density, reduced bone breakdown, lower the risk of fractures, excessive bone loss during the menopause. And also, vitamin K metabolism is altered in many women. So, an intake may need to be increased during your perimenopausal stage. So, there are foods that are rich in vitamin K if you don't like taking a supplement, and they are things like kimchi, sauerkraut, aged cheese, natto as well. But often you don't get them very much in your diet. I know for me personally, I don't have any of them. So you may need to have a supplementation of vitamin K as well. Make sure it's a good quality one. Most multivitamins have got it included, but it might not actually be as high a dose as what you need. So, food first, as always, supplementation second. If you're not getting enough of that food or that natural vitamin coming into the body, definitely think about vitamin K, think about vitamin D as well. And you want to have a really good balanced diet and create more of that alkaline diet rather than acidic diet. And I'm going to talk about that tonight in our Zoom call for my Fit Female project on the difference between an alkaline and acidic diet. The second thing that we can definitely think about is preserving and building our muscle mass, which is going to help with our regards to our bone mass. And obviously the way that we do this is through exercise. So like our bone mass, our muscle mass generally reaches kind of a bit of a peak in our youth, and then it progressively decreases as we age. By the time a woman kind of transitions through her menopause, she will have had a steady loss of muscle since around the age of kind of about 30. So unless you've made an ongoing effort to maintain your muscle strength, i.e. weight training, then you are going to experience muscle mass, which will have a knock-on effect with regards to your bone mass. We can also help to save our muscle mass with an alkaline diet as well. So alkaline diet is kind of winning, definitely, with regards to bone mass, muscle mass, and with regards to prevention of disease. Um, so obviously we've known for a long, long time exercise can help to build bone. The bones will adapt to the stress that we put on them. So the more we use them, the more stronger they become. But this is somewhat kind of difficult for women who are perimenopausal or menopausal because of other stresses on their body that they're dealing with, and the tendency to lose bone rather than to build it. However, intense strength training allows many women to regain the bone, and help to build bone and build muscle mass for sure. Often a woman will experience muscle aches and joint aches, though, which will kind of almost prevent her from wanting to train. And I think we have to, if we can manage the muscle aches and we can manage the joint ache, then we can definitely focus on increasing the amount of exercise that we're doing. Even simple aerobic exercise 3 times a week for half an hour, or it could be something as gentle as a powerful Pilates session can also be really, really good at helping to prevent bone loss during the menopause. I've been talking a lot about balancing hormones, and definitely the more we can be aware of our progesterone and our estrogen. Like I said earlier, people used to always say that the loss of bone was due to lack of estrogen, but actually the main hormone, the sex hormone that's actually reduced, the one that kind of we lose the quickest, is actually progesterone. So even though estrogen does play a large role in our bone health, we need to identify as well that a great deal of bone loss can be due to other factors. So women kind of are known to be on a bit of a roller coaster ride with spikes and dips when it comes to their estrogen levels combined with low progesterone during perimenopausal. And again, that can, have a knock-on effect with regards to lots of other things, but also your bone mass. The effects of progesterone on bone loss is being researched a hell of a lot more now. And like I said, progesterone actually, in many cases, is actually the hormone that's decreased the first in this transitional time. Progesterone and our bone building cells essentially work together, and that's what's called our osteoblasts. They've got a complex relationship, and progesterone helps to build bone, although there are other factors that can affect that as well. There's also recent evidence showing that there a natural increase in our FSH hormone during the perimenopause can also be linked to bone loss. Now, the FSH hormone is the actual test that they do to tell you whether or not you're in the menopause. It's the blood test that you have done. So again, we can kind of be aware of that. This drop in estrogen, drop in progesterone, will be a factor. It's definitely clear that these sex hormones have an impact in the way that our bones remodel themselves. During the menopause, these hormone levels are likely to change, and they'll have a consequent effect on our bone building. But that does not mean that you should turn to hormone replacement therapy straight away. I mean, I'm a big fan of HRT, but it's got to be right for you. Obviously, there is a lot of people who can't have HRT. There's a lot of people who don't want to have HRT. And if we think about back, original days back in the dark ages, Mother Nature didn't plan our bodies to maintain reproductive levels of estrogen and progesterone throughout the whole of our life. So I think we have to think about what's going to be correct for us. Obviously, if we're going through the menopause at a very young age, then HRT might be an absolute game changer and it might be a lifesaver for us. But as always, with everything I advocate, if we can focus on the things we can control first, and then obviously if we're then still really struggling, then we can look at additional medication. So if we can eat a really well balanced diet, full of fresh fruits, vegetables, high quality protein and fats. Maybe you want to have supplementation on top of that, but also you might want to look at maybe some herbal therapies, and really think about managing your stress. That's going to help with regards to hormone balance, which will have a knock on effect with regards to our bone loss during the menopause as well. Um, and talking about, back to your diet, but the way that you can decrease inflammation and improve your digestive system also can have, be another factor with regards to bone loss. Our bodies become inflamed when they're kind of reacting to a situation that the cells for the immune system, if say for instance you are injured or you've got a disease, your body will become inflamed to kind of protect it and try and heal it. If you are constantly exposing yourself to food allergies, or there being a deficiency with regards to your healthy gut bacteria, or you're putting yourself into chronic inflammation within the body, then of course then that can cause inflammatory disorders that can affect your bones, things like diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, irritable bowel syndrome, high cholesterol. All of these things you know, will affect our bone health, because our bone breakdown, our osteoclasts, these cells share common kind of links with regards to our immune cells. So when our immune system is recurrently activated, the body overproduces bone breakdown cells, and the bone is broken down more readily than it would be otherwise. So if you're constantly putting yourself into a state of inflammation, then your bones are going to be under more strain, because your cells are having to kind of almost regenerate all the time. um when you're going through the menopause, your body is naturally inflamed anyway. And this is due to the fact estrogen is a natural anti inflammatory. So if you've got a drop in estrogen, then your body is more susceptible to be inflamed. And then secondly, as we age, inflammatory free radicals and oxidative stress accumulate, which can increase bone breakdown and lowers our bone mineral density. So definitely we can think about trying to reduce inflammation within our diet. Things like sugar, caffeine, refined carbohydrates all lead to excessive amounts of blood acidity and lead to inflammation. Foods, again, like wheat, dairy, soy, sometimes eggs and nuts can be common irritants. A lot of people are intolerant to those. Daily omega-3 fatty acids have been shown to decrease inflammation, as well the alkaline diet, and obviously things like turmeric and ginger have also got really high levels and historically been used to calm the immune system as well, which is why on my Fit Female project I've sort of said to everybody about starting your day with your lemon and your ginger, pour your hot water over it, let it stem, let it diffuse for about 5 minutes, drink it, and then continuing to drink over it. I've always got lemon and ginger in my water bottle, and I drink that over there as well. So I'm getting that in as much as possible. I cook with a lot of turmeric, I cook with a lot of ginger as well, and that's all going to be really, really beneficial to, reducing inflammation within the body. That's going to help you with regards to your bone density. Finally, just a little bit of a talk on stress. It's a big factor, but cortisol can weaken our bones and cause other kinds of problems within our body when sustained at a high level, certainly for over years. Because our bodies are particularly stressed during the menopausal transition, it's important to incorporate as much as possible stress reduction into your lives. So, not only thinking about reducing stress for the purpose of your mindset, but also for your bone health. So, trying to add in techniques like breath work and focusing on your emotional well-being is going to be crucial with regards to countering bone loss. So, maybe looking at meditation, yoga, Pilates, breath work, relaxation, whatever it might be to help facilitate stress reduction is going to really help lower cortisol levels down. Again, we've been speaking about it a lot this week in the WhatsApp group, but if we can manage our stress, then that's going to have a knock on effect that we won't have high cortisol, which essentially can weaken our bones as well. There's a lot of information in there, gang, I know. So I really hope you found that helpful. I will talk a little bit more in depth about that tonight when we're talking about nutrition and we're talking about exercise and the benefits of eating a certain way and doing certain exercises. I think with regards to our perimenopausal phase and our menopausal phase, we have to think about exercise coming from weight training and relaxation. So whether or not that be a lovely walk in the countryside or, with your dog, or a slow steady cardio state that makes you feel quite calm and good afterwards, or relaxation classes like Pilates, yoga, breath work, stretch, anything like that, they are going to be your two go-to classes with regards to your hormonal health going through the menopause. So let me know if there's any questions at all. Otherwise, gang, we are going to be doing a bar balance with little weights literally in a couple of minutes. So I'm just going to get myself ready, and then that's a great bone building workout. I'm going to do it all standing. I'm going to use light little weights. It's going to be quite chilled and relaxed, using calm music in there. And essentially, we're going to be focusing on building our strength from a standing point of view. Thank you. Thanks, gang. Take care. Thanks, Amanda. See you in a mo, and I'll see you in a bit.